Shalom, my brothers and sisters. Shalom. Welcome to the Inward Man. My name is Symmanayah, and these are the words that stir what's inside of me. This is the 24th installment of the Inward Man. It is designed and directed to those who seek to do the will of the Almighty Father and who have come to accept His word manifest in the person of Yahusha, Mashiach, knowing that no man can come unto the Father except by the Son, except through His written word. Pray, O Yashar'al, for these are the words that I have been given to present. It is up to you to discern and confirm or reject. That is your choice, and every choice comes with a benefit or consequence. And I mention often it is my intent to be forever proclaiming the names Yahuah and Yahusha. For I believe the rise of the 144,000 in great multitude will not happen in an instant. It is indeed a process in which we are in, being fashioned and drawn by the Almighty Father. With that said, this segment is entitled Earth, Wind, and Fire. I will present to you the importance of all three of these, O Yashar'al. Let these resonate within your mind, body, and spirit if you indeed confirm these words to be true. I want to start by reading Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. It says, in the beginning, the Almighty One created the heavens and the earth. The earth. The Almighty Father created the earth. Why? For this is where He made our first home. O Yashar'al, hear these words. Genesis 1:26 says, and the Almighty One said, let us make man in our image according to our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the heavens, over the livestock, and over all earth, and over all creeping creatures that creep on the earth. Earth, wind, and fire, my brothers and sisters. We have an obligation to be good steward, good custodians of this planet. And we have destroyed it by many pollutions, by greed, by wickedness. We have polluted the seas and the lands. We have chased after vanities. And in these end times, we will begin to witness the destruction of all that is vain. We will begin to witness returning to some of the basic things in life, things that are of necessity. And we will find out that in these last days, buildings and vehicles and all the luxuries that we have grown to love, many of them, most of them will be destroyed. Pray and watch, my brothers and sisters. The tribulation period does not polish over the greed and the things that we have accumulated. We will find ourselves walking away, leaving such items. For the earth is important. Let me continue. Genesis 2:7 says, in Yahuah, the Almighty One formed man out of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils breath of life, and man became a living being. And we will see, my brothers and sisters, here, the Most High gave us a home for these physical bodies and gave us life. We were formed from the very earth, from the very ground. Ecclesiastes 3:20 says, all are going to one place. All came from the dust, and all return to the dust. Here he informs us, the preacher informs us, that these physical bodies will go back to the earth. They will go back to this polluted and tainted planet that we have caused many conflicts, many problems. Climate change and global warming are real. Do not listen to anyone who is deceived to think differently. What do you think caused climate change and global warming? It is our recklessness in how we treat this planet. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 6-8 reads as follows. Remember him before the silver cord is loosed, or the golden bowl is broken, or the jar shattered at the fountain, or the wheel broken at the well. And the dust returns to the earth as it was, and the spirit returns to the Almighty One who gave it. Now they say the spirit returns to the Almighty One. Because our spirit returned to the possession of the Almighty One, that doesn't say that the spirit returns to heaven, that it goes to heaven. It is wherever that place the Most High hath designated for our spirits to be until the final resurrection, until judgment day. Many people will take this and they want to run past what it's saying and say, well, see, it's saying you're going to heaven because that's where the Almighty One. The Almighty One, Yahuah, is everywhere at all times. And he has a place. If we search the scriptures, we'll see that it designates there's a place of rest until the resurrection day. Can we point to it? No, we cannot. But we will indeed discover what that is when that time comes. Oh, Yashar'al, hear these words. It goes on to say in Ecclesiastes 12:8, futility, futility, said the preacher. All is futility. It's futile, rather. Remember, as I stated, my brothers and sisters, the earth has its purpose. The life we have in these bodies has its purpose. Ecclesiastes 1:4 says, a generation passes away and a generation comes, but the earth stands forever. We will read also where it talks about the earth being melted and a new earth. And I mentioned this before, in seeking to understand how these both can be. The Most High said when it talks about the earth melting, when it talks about the earth being destroyed, it's talking about all that is within the grasp of man. It is not talking about the entire planet to its very, including its very core. And if you look, my brothers and sisters, the scriptures talk often about earthquakes in these final days. If you seek out to understand what happens in an earthquake when lava, when that magma comes up, it forms a new lands. It burns and consumes everything in its path, and it creates new land mass. So in my pursuit to understand, I am compelled to believe that the Spirit of Yahushua was saying what the scripture is talking about when it talks about the earth melting and the earth being destroyed. Is talking about all that man could reach, all that man has polluted, being all consumed and melting, but the core remaining intact. Therefore, if the cores remain intact, then the entire planet still is intact, and it stands forever. Seek to discern these words, my brothers and sisters. When we read scriptures that may appear to be in conflict, let us ask the question, how can these two be accepted to be true if one say the planet, the earth is being destroyed, and the other one saying the earth is forever? Again, I submit to you, it's talking about the different layers of the earth being melted and destroyed. The entire planet itself will not be vaporized. Matthew 5:5 says, blessed are the meek because they shall inherit the earth. Imagine this, my brothers and sisters, as it relates to the rapture. People think that the rapture is saying that we're going to be caught up into heaven and forever be in heaven. That's not what it says. It says we should be caught up in the air to meet Yahushua Mashiach. Because if we search out the scriptures, we will read and see that we will be on this planet. And I give the best example that I believe had came to me by the Spirit of Yahushua, helping me to understand. It's akin to if you was cleaning a table. If you put a new tabletop up, you would lift you would lift the things on that table off, put the new tabletop on it, and then put the people back, or put what's good back. And that's what I believe that the rapture is about. It's about when it comes to that point right before Judgment Day, right before that final resurrection, that he will lift us up. The dead will rise from the grave, and those who are alive, we will be lifted up. the earth, the layers of the earth will burn and be consumed, and there will be a new earth, and then he will place us right back down on it. Now, what that time frame will be, only the Most High knows. Keep that in mind, my brothers and sisters. This brings the scriptures whole, opposed to thinking that one contradicts the other. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 10 through 13 reads as follows. But the day of Yahuah shall come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with intense heat, and the earth and the works that are in it shall burn up. Seeing all these are to be destroyed in this way, what kind of people ought you to be in set apart behavior and reverence, looking for and hastening the coming of the day of the Almighty One, through which the heavens shall be destroyed, being set on fire, and the elements melt with intense heat. Notice how I say the heavens set on fire. Now, many might not even realize how this correlates with, there's a passage in Revelation that tells us that the time will come when there will be no need of the sun and the moon and the stars, for we will have the light from the Almighty One. Yes, my brothers and sisters, can we see if it says the heavens are destroyed? If this is talking about space, is it possible that the Almighty Father it would be almost like wiping the entire slate of all that we can see with our eyes clean and presenting something new to us? How many of us have realized when it talks about the heavens shall be destroyed, being set on fire? We know the sun exists, and that's real. But if we search the scriptures, we also will grow to know that the scripture says that Yahuah is indeed a consuming fire. Are we aware of that? That Yahuah is a consuming fire, my brothers and sisters? Let me bring your attention to such. Let me see here. I know many people like saying, I don't want to take for granted everyone is familiar with this. And I know there's hunger sometimes to say, well, show me the scriptures. Deuteronomy 4:24 reads, for Yahuah, your Almighty One, is a consuming fire. Now, I did say he uses the sun as his consuming fire, although he does, but he's more powerful than the sun, for he created the sun. So know this, my brothers and sisters. Could the heavens melt by the power and might of the Almighty Father, by his words? Indeed, it can be. I want to bring your attention to what I mentioned before about there would be no need of the sun. I believe it also said the stars, but let me go to it. Revelation. It says here, Revelation 7:16 say, they shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun strike them, nor any heat. But it's another one here that talks about there would be no need. Revelation 21:23 reads, and the city had no need of the sun, nor of the moon to shine in it, for the esteem of the Almighty One lighten it, and the Lamb is its lamp. It also says, that was Revelation 21:23, and Revelation 22:5 speaks also that there would be no need, for the might and esteem of the Almighty Father will indeed light our world. Pray, my brothers and sisters, that you're able to discern this. Earth, wind, and fire. Let's talk about wind. Genesis 2:7 says, and Yahuah, the Almighty One, formed man out of the dust from the ground and breathed into his nostrils breath of life. I want to talk about wind, breath, spirit. Many people who have sought out the word spirit have looked, using their literacy skills, their own minds, to research what spirit meant, and many believe it's just breath. And I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, the spirit of Yahuah is not just breath. Breath in itself has no conscience. Breath as the spirit is indeed a conscience. It is the order. It is the set apart actions of the Almighty Father. So people rather go with breath. Some would rather even sensationalize the word Ruach HaKodesh, which basically means set apart spirit. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I believe we over sensationalize it, because what's important is the name. We will study, if you haven't already, to know that there's importance in the name. So the spirit of Yahusha, or Yahusha's spirit, takes precedence over just saying Ruach HaKodesh. My brothers and sisters, the life that the Most High breathed into us, that breath of life was given us spirit, giving man a spirit. Who is aware that when it talks about the inward man, when it talks about there's an outward man perishing, but the inward man is renewed. 2 Corinthians 4:16. Who is aware, my brothers and sisters, that the breath that the Most High breathed into us, he was inserting a spirit, our spirit, into these earthen vessels, and we became a living being. Breath, spirit. Breath is the closest thing we could use to describe the spirit, for we don't know where it we can't point to exactly where it came from, nor can we say where it's going. And the scriptures say, just like with the wind, it's hard to discern which direction the wind came and which way it's going. I mean, where it's going, where it would end up. So I say to you, my brothers and sisters, understand the dynamics of what is occurring when the Most High Father, who placed us on this earth, breathed the breath of life in us, and by his word we live. Isaiah 42:5 says, thus said the Almighty One Yahuah, who created the heavens and stretched them out, who spread forth the earth and that which comes from it, who gives breath to the people on it and spirit to those who walk on it. That was Isaiah 42:5. Isaiah 57:13 says, when you cry out, let your collection of idols deliver you. But the wind shall bear them all away, a breath take them. In other words, my brothers and sisters, if we're crying out, and he's talking about, he's basically, this is a reproof going to those who are looking at their idols, and he's saying that can all be taken in a breath, taken away. Because it goes on to say, but he who takes refuge in me shall inherit the land and possess my set apart mountain. My brothers and sisters, are we aware that Yahuah indeed provides refuge to his children, to those who are obedient, to those who have been chosen to be beneficiaries of his refuge? Are we aware of such, my brothers and sisters? Do you know in Proverbs, it mentions about Yahuah, our Almighty Father, providing refuge. Refuge. Is that something that would be of importance in these final days? Pray, my brothers and sisters. Pray and seek to discern all that is before us. It says, Proverbs 14:26, in the fear of Yahuah is strong trust, and his children has a place of refuge. Pray and seek to discern these words, my brothers and sisters. Earth, wind, and fire. Deuteronomy 8:3, I talked about it. It mentions about we don't live by bread alone, but every word that proceeds out of the Almighty Father. Let me also read Acts 2:2-4. It reads, and suddenly there came a sound from the heaven as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. And there appeared to them divided tongues as of fire, and settled on each one of them. And they were all filled with the set apart Spirit, and began to speak with other tongues as the Spirit gave them to speak. It said it appeared like a mighty rushing wind, earth, wind, and fire. My brothers and sisters, I submit to you that sometimes the Spirit of the Most High is akin to a mighty wind blowing across the face of this planet. Fire. Deuteronomy 4:24 says, for Yahuah, your Almighty One, is a consuming fire, a jealous Almighty One. Fire. Hebrews 12:28 and 29 reads, therefore, receiving an unshakable rain, let us hold the favor through which we serve the Almighty One pleasingly with reverence and awe, for indeed our Almighty One is a consuming fire. In these final days, my brothers and sisters, the Most High has promised discipline and refinement to his children. He has also promised vengeance and wrath. If you doubt this, discover all that is written in Revelation, and you will see much destruction, much death that will come to be. These final days, the Most High will bring his children, those that are chosen for his esteem, together from the four corners of the earth to his set apart mountain, which I indeed believe is Yashar'al, currently named as such. But in reality, it is the true Mount Sinai where Moshe received the Ten Commandments. Pray, O Yasharal, and seek to discern what is expected. For these final days will prove that there are things that we must do and will do. movement is coming. Until next time, my brothers and sisters, let us not take for granted earth, wind, and fire. Let us not disregard the dynamics of such and how it plays a role in our lives, this journey. Be encouraged, my brothers and sisters. Our redemption indeed draws near. Until next time, my name is Symmanayah. Shalom, shalom, shalom.